Now this beautiful old tin ceiling is really a beautiful new tin ceiling. I'm staying at Walter Park's loft that he restored with all these righteous materials. Everything about it is made to sort of keep its dignity over many decades, just like the music he plays and all these cool old amps and guitars that I got to play yesterday. And so I'm inspired. It's fun being here. And in terms of my inspiration tip for this week, it's the new John Mayer record. You know, I mean, he's been subjected to an inhuman experiment, you know, sort of like for the sake of us all. We say, you know, let's take this guinea pig and see what happens if you subject a perfectly healthy human being to lethal amounts of fame and attention and, you know. And I'm sure that there are lots of people who are, like, blogging right this moment about, you know, all his sort of public antics with celebrity girlfriends and stuff. But, you know, they're the ones who are keeping track of all that stuff. They're the ones who are sort of buying into that whole thing. And, you know, who would even know about all of that if we weren't as a culture sort of collectively insane about this myth that he portrayed so beautifully in the first couple records about, you know, like having all this talent and all this drive and putting yourself out into the world in such a way that the world says thank you. The world says, you know, these ideas are necessary for everyone, and you've brought them to the forefront. And, you know, that kind of feeling useful and welcomed and accepted, I mean, that was my insanity too. And obviously I never, you know, got subjected to the kinds of attention that he did, and I have no idea what that might be like to try and survive. But we get a glimpse on this new record of what it's like when that beautiful myth comes apart, when, you know, the one thing that could sort of tear down that beautiful, effortless, kind of triumphant assault on life, that one little thing, that one little place in his voice that says, John, you're staying home, you're not gigging. And so he's writing about stuff that lasts. He's writing about kind of how to like what Neil Young was going through, where, you know, he's talking to the guy that Neil Young bought this farm from this old guy, and they drove up on the hill. You've heard the story. And the guy sort of timidly asked Neil, who was, you know, this really young guy, so how'd you get the money to buy this farm? And Neil kind of awkwardly explains, well, I play this music, you know, and the world likes it. And so he's trying to stay sane in the long run. So obviously John comes to his music now with the same kind of intensity and says to his music, you know, if I'm going to live through this, I have to write my way through. I have to play my way through. I have to, you know, music has been the place that he's gone for sanity. And so because of that, we get to hear what it's like. And it's the perfect medicine for me. And I love that, you know, this music sounds so simple, and it's so not simple. Like he will play this simple little harmonica part, you know, ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba, and yet he plays it over the 4 chords that make that part sound like that's what the harmonica was invented to do. It makes it sort of find the natural dignity of that instrument, you know, show it in its best light, as if it's not trying, you know? And So he's coming to music saying, okay, what if, now, I'm sorry, here I go imagining what he's feeling writing this record. Let me stick to what I know. This record is really good medicine for me. First of all, because it's beautiful and it fits together in this gorgeous way, and everything about it is like someone who plays an instrument so well that they don't have to concentrate on what they're playing, they just concentrate on what they're feeling. And everything is in service to that. So it's just simple and yet, you know, fresh and surprising and heartfelt. And so obviously I've just listened a few times because it's not, well, as of a couple days ago, it wasn't available as a download yet, but you can stream it on iTunes, or there's a link on his site. And so, you know, the first time I just let myself soak it up and just kind of take that ride, you know, and the second time I can't help but sort of play along and find the chords, because there are 3-chord songs that are, you know, different, really unique. I mean, the chord progression, a 3-chord song that takes those 3 chords and plays them in a way that makes it really interesting. And I just love that if you are so good at everything about music that you can work toward simplicity. With all those thousands of choices, it comes out sounding like you just walked into this thrift store and picked up this coat and put it on and it just fits you. And you walk out and it just, you know, you're like ready for the photo shoot. But it's just like, hey, wow, where'd you find that coat? Did you have it made? It's so perfect and retro. And no, I just picked it up off the rack. Well, this record sounds like, I just kind of listened to a few Neil Young records and poof. Poof, yeah. Well, I just love the way it is definitely, you know, new and fresh and beautiful, and yet he's relying on music to carry him through. And so I just love hearing people sing about the stuff that they really love. And yeah, I don't know how to say it any better, but I think it's brilliant medicine for a culture like ours that is so caught up in, you know, wishing we were dealt that mystical, beautiful, magic life. And yet we see that life gets to us, life gets to all of us. And luckily, John is, you know, brilliant and crazy enough that he has to come to music to survive. And we get to hear that level of talent and intensity and commitment and conviction and desperation, really, and all in the right balance. And so when he sings that song about, you know, in this time of insanity in our culture, in our time, in this time of worry, you know, he's gonna find a way to not just be tossed around on that sea of worry, but he's gonna, you know, sort of find a way to be sane in all this. And yeah, it's really nice. So